Dirt Trax TV is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, follow your path. Yamaha's proven off-road side-by-sides and ATVs, realize your adventure. Team MSC, when you just gotta have the best. Honda Power Sports, power your dreams, whatever the terrain.
Earlier this season, I covered Kawasaki's release of their new 2025 Ridge Crew lineup. Now in that story, I talked about all the different models, all of their specs, and all the individual features. We got our hands on a test unit earlier this season, and as I've been putting it through its paces week after week, one thing has become very clear to me. The Ridge Crew is best enjoyed with friends, or family, or friends and family. So today I want to quickly go over the specs of the model we have here, then I'm going to turn things over to a group of test passengers to see what they thought of it. So let's just jump right in. The Ridge Crew model we have here is the XR. The Crew comes in just two flavors in Canada, the Standard and the XR Limited. Unlike the shorter version, there's only one trim level for each model. In the US, there are multiple trim levels of both the base Crew and the XR Crew. The truth is though, you could consider all versions and trim levels of the Ridge Crew to be premium because they all come with a full cab with HVAC, power windows, and 14-inch aluminum wheels. The power plant in this unit is pretty unique in the industry. It's a 999cc inline 4-cylinder engine, and it produces 92 horsepower in the base Crew model and 116 horsepower in the XR Crew. The XR model we have here boasts 12.7 inches of travel front and rear from 64-inch wide double A-arms. It comes stock with 30-inch tires, a Warn VRX 45 winch, 8-inch Garmin tread in the dash, LED lighting, front and rear cameras, and an HD front bumper. It features shiftable 4x4 with locking front and rear diffs, power steering with a tilting column, multiple throttle modes, adjustable driver and passenger seat, and multiple interior power outlets. Its large cargo box features multiple tie-down points in the box, mounting points for Kawasaki accessories, a one-hand tailgate, gas-assisted dumping feature, and it can haul up to 1,000 pounds. This vehicle can also tow up to 2,500 pounds with its 2-inch hitch receiver. Obviously, there are a lot more specs we could cover, but instead of making this all about what the Ridge Crew is, I wanted to spend more time on what it's like from a passenger perspective. So I gathered up a very enthusiastic group of willing participants and hit the trails. Here's what they had to say.
When my dad invited us out to the Ridge, I was really excited because I was able to do it with all my friends, and I knew it was going to be a really fun experience, especially going in the water. That was really fun.
Yeah, I was a bit nervous at first, but it helped that I was like with Alice and Lily because it wouldn't have been as bad since I was with my friends.
Yeah, when Luke invited us out, I didn't know what, I'd never done one of these before, so I was excited to see what happened. Having 4 seats definitely makes it better. When I first got in, I noticed the speakers and I was like, wow, that's a lot of speakers.
There's 9.
There were a lot of speakers.
Which meant we could blast some awesome music.
I think the back seat was really comfortable and the seats were really good.
And there seemed to be a lot of room, right?
Yeah, there was a lot of space.
They also have a really nice cup holder.
And the front row in the Ridge was really comfortable. There's lots of air conditioning, so I was never sweating or anything. It was really comfortable. The only thing is that there weren't really anything to grab onto when it was you're going on crazy bumps and stuff. I was I don't know what to grab onto. But other than that, it was really comfortable and I really enjoyed it.
The water had to have been my favorite part.
Yeah,
being able to go in the water, it was super smooth.
I never really felt scared about it. It was just really fun.
When we first got down there, I wasn't expecting for Luke to just drive in, and then we just drove in and I was like, oh, okay, we're in. The waterfall was a really nice stop, and because we'd been in the Ridge for the whole time, and it was nice to get some fresh air.
It was fun on all the trails, but it was nice how we got to take a break and see the waterfall because it was also really pretty.
It was definitely confusing experience to drive on a road, and
I definitely saw some people look. They were what are you doing? I think that if there's a family of 4 who really wants a good time, but not too bumpy and crazy, but still fun, I think the Ridge is perfect for that because it has all the things you need, comfy seats, air conditioning.
Yeah.
If you're a thrill seeker, but you still you want to make sure it's safe, obviously. So I think this is the Ridge is definitely.
You can definitely do some crazy stuff.
Good.
But still feel like you're really safe.
This portion of Dirt Trax TV has been brought to you by MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap.
Can-Am's XMR models have been right at the top of their best sellers list for a long time, and the reason is really simple. They are the industry's best mud-specific ATVs. I'm always a big proponent of the old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So when Can-Am pulled the sheets off the 2025 XMR lineup, now all new in the G3 chassis, I wasn't surprised because it makes sense, but I was a little concerned. What if it's not an improvement? The G3 Outlander is the best Outlander Can-Am has ever made, but would the things that make it so much better translate into the mud-specific XMR? We got our hands on a long-term test unit at the beginning of this season and have been putting in the hours in the mud and on the trail to find the answer to that very question, and here's what we discovered. The first thing I want to talk about is power and power delivery. This is the industry's first mud-specific ATV that comes from the factory with 100 horsepower. Interestingly, this is the area that needed the most adaptation from the older model. The power is intense, no doubt, but the delivery is worlds softer than it was in the G2. Engagement is far less abrupt. It just doesn't hit as hard when you grab the throttle. To some, this might initially seem like a bad thing. I mean, how do you get the wheels to spin in the mud if it doesn't engage with aggression? And I'm really glad you asked that question. You simply let 100 horsepower and loads of torque do their jobs. We haven't found a single scenario where the huge horsepower and torque couldn't get the wheels spinning hard despite the soft engagement. But let's take this one step further. The soft engagement makes for a way nicer ATV to ride when you're not in the mud. So if you use your XMR for multiple purposes, you are very much going to like this change. The next thing I want to talk about is heat. Now, it's no secret, the G2 Outlanders, especially the XMR model, had problems with both overheating and excessive heat buildup on the plastics inside the footwell area. Can-Am has paid very close attention to this with the G3. The entire chassis and plastic of the ATV are designed to channel heat right down the center, over the engine, and straight out the back. This has made a huge difference in heat buildup. The plastics down by your legs never get excessively hot, and we haven't had one single overheating issue with this XMR, even when the whole bike's covered in mud. One of the biggest differences between the G2 and G3 Outlanders is the rear suspension. The G3 uses standard double A-arms instead of the trailing arm setup found on the G2. There was some concern early on that this may affect its deep mud capabilities. We found that this doesn't seem to have any effect really at all. The G3 Outlander also has an increase in ground clearance over the G2, so that's always good. And the double A-arms seem to keep the ATV from rolling up on its side when you're riding in the deep mud ruts. One of the most striking features of this new XMR is its top-mounted rad and snorkel setup. The 2025 G3 XMR has a completely redesigned radiator setup that does a better job directing air over the rad fins, which helps keep the engine cool. But it also is incredibly easy to disassemble to clean and inspect your rad, and this is a feature we absolutely love. The rear rack on the new G3 XMR was heavily influenced by Can-Am's mud ambassadors. It was their direct input that resulted in features like these excellent grab handles that make pulling on the ATV when you're stuck so much easier, or this raised rear footrest so that when you're trying to do a water wheelie or get your knee on the seat, you have somewhere to push against with your foot. Or the fact that there's no plastic right here behind the seat, so when you lean your weight back to wheelie, you don't smash your butt off something hard. And these features have all proven to be legitimately useful in the real world. Our favorite is the grab handle, which, like I said earlier, is immensely helpful when you get stuck. If there were a few things I could pick on about the new 2025 Outlander 1000 XMR, the first one would be these XPS Swamp King XL tires. Now they are very good tires, and they're considerably better on the trail than the cryptids that were found on the older model. But in the mud, they just don't seem to provide the same traction. For most, they'll be perfectly fine, but if you're into serious mud riding, you're probably going to want to upgrade. The other change I think Can-Am should make is a very simple one. The Showa shocks that it comes with are good quality units, but they aren't adjustable, and all of our test riders agree they should be. Having the ability to soften the suspension for a day on the trail or a long ride to the mud hole, then stiffen it up when you're ready to ride in the mud would be a huge benefit. These are really the only two things I can think of. Everything else about this new XMR 1000 is at least as good as the G2, but in most cases, significantly better. Which means the best mud-specific ATV in the industry just got even better. Our own in-house mud expert, Graham, has enthusiastically given it his seal of approval. And if he likes it, I know you will too.
This portion of Dirt Tracks TV has been brought to you by Suzuki. It's not a quad unless it's a KingQuad.
Now, I know it's been a couple of weeks since we last dove into the CFMOTO Huntsman Build, but this week I've got a couple of amazing parts to add on to this ultimate hunting rig. And before I go any further, in last week's episode, I added the beautiful EFX 29-inch tires on MSA beadlock wheels. And because of this, I've got to address the obvious, clutching. With the 1000cc's power, I could leave things as is, however, I will notice a serious reduction in throttle response and a bit of a lazy acceleration feel, and for me, that's just not going to be acceptable. And the reality of a quick call to teammscparts.com means that I can resolve any power loss and actually make serious gains in just a couple of easy steps. Now, before I tear into the clutches to make my improvements there, let's take a look at one other thing that Team MSC does that's really important, and that is ECU upgrades. Now, I opted for the Stage 3 ECU Tune and Clutch Kit combo package because it's financially a better deal to package these, and, well, for the obvious reasons that you're going to see the best possible results by going this route. The install is a simple plug and play, and Team MSC claims that you're going to see more power, more torque, better mid-range, and a cooler running engine. Now, on the clutch side of things, we utilize a new secondary helix as well as a secondary spring. Now, keep in mind, for other kits of other bikes or side-by-sides, it may have a secondary helix, secondary spring, and a primary spring as well. Could have other parts also. This combo will increase the performance, it'll compensate for the increase in tire size so that we can regain our sporty 1000cc feel. Now, I know you've all been wondering why we didn't put a front bumper on the CFMOTO when we put a rear bumper on, but don't worry, we just wanted to wait until we were going to install the lights to get this thing kitted out. And much like the rear CFMOTO bumper, this front bumper is from the same product line and available from your CFMOTO dealer. And remember how I told you the rear bumper was only 299 bucks Canadian? Well, guess what? The front bumper? Yeah, it's the exact same. Honestly, this is the best deal of upgraded bumpers in the industry. And thanks to beefy 38mm diameter tube steel and 2mm tube wall thickness, along with black E-coat powder coating, these bumpers are here to not just defend your plastics, but to look great and work hard for years to come. Integration is seamless, and they mount up flawlessly and simply because they're CFMOTO factory-built accessories. This bumper also works with the factory winch and the CFMOTO plow system. Yeah, I did hint towards some lighting earlier, and I have some Pro Comp kits to put onto this ATV that are really going to help us out. Now, the factory LED headlights do a really good job of illuminating the trail at night, but the reality is, if you've ever been hunting at 2 a.m. tracking an animal, you know that more light is always welcomed. And so to be completely covered, I wanted a 10-inch SR10 single-row combo spot and flood LED light bar for the center tube on the front bumper. Install is really easy because this kit comes with a pre-wired harness and switch and really only requires us to find the battery and then we're in business. Adding to the massive light power are two more ProComp S4 Gen 3 3-inch square floodlights that are going to cast light to either side of the Huntsman up front and illuminate the outer reaches of the trail. Like the SR10s, the 3-inch cubes come pre-wired as well and are an easy install. Throwing out a total power of over 7,500 lumens of light, both of these kits are IP67 rated for water and dust protection. They're low power because they're LED, drawing only a total of 90 watts for all three lights. The hardware for mounting won't bleed rust on our nice bumper because it's stainless, and the housings are UV resistant, so they'll continue to look great for years to come. And these lights are even submersible up to 10 feet. And well, let's be completely honest, if you need more than that, you're looking in the wrong department and better go buy a submarine. You know, I'm really excited about how this ATV is turning out. This Huntsman Build is pretty cool, but make sure you stay tuned to a future episode because we've got more cool parts and pieces to add to this build that are really going to take it to the next level.
Dirt Trax TV has been sponsored by Yamaha, revs your heart. Honda, life is better on a Honda. ITP, innovation, traction, performance. Fast HD, roam fearlessly. Kawasaki, let the good times roll.
With the sticker prices of off-road vehicles skyrocketing in the past few years, there's a growing demand for budget-conscious ATVs that'll get riders out and keep them out on the trail. Now, it's been a long time since I've ridden a Suzuki, so I'm real excited to have this 2025 KingQuad 500 on site, and so far, I'm impressed. This model's the 500 XPZ, which is the top-tier trim package of Suzuki's 500 class in Canada, featuring electric power steering and a host of value-added features. It's powered by Suzuki's tried-and-true 493cc single-cylinder engine, mated to the Quadmatic CVT, providing smooth and linear power delivery that's easy to manage in a wide variety of terrains. Initial throttle engagement comes on a bit soft, but builds steadily through mid-range to a respectable top end. Now, I got this unit going about 97 kilometers an hour on a longer than expected straightaway, which is about 60 miles an hour. At trail speeds, power delivery is smooth and predictable. Handling in the twisties feels light and confident thanks to its EPS, which lightens steering effort at slower speeds and reduces kickback felt through the handlebars when encountering roots, rocks, and other trail junk. Now, its EPS input level is comparable to the lowest setting on a tri-mode system, and I personally feel it could use just a hair more input. That said, I was glad to have it as we put this machine through some of the most aggressive terrain in our area, and it handled admirably. Smoothing out trail chatter, the KQ500 features double A-arm front suspension and fully independent A-arm I-beam rear suspension, delivering 6.7 inches of travel and 7.7 inches respectively. And the shocks are basic gas charge units with 5-way spring preload adjustability. Rear sway bars do a decent job of keeping the KingQuad planted and reduce body roll when cornering. The stock suspension setup is fairly soft, which is quite common for Japanese-built ATVs in this class. However, I think there's enough tunability in these shocks that the average rider should be able to find a setting that works best for their riding style and terrain. Gripping the ground are a set of 25-inch Carl Star AT489 tires mounted on nice-looking 12-inch aluminum wheels. These tires aren't particularly aggressive, but they do their job well. We didn't experience any issues with them during our testing, even through some light muck and loose gravel, and they kept their footing with no slippage while climbing and descending steep rock faces. Like its big brother, the 750, the 500 features disc brakes up front and a sealed wet brake out back, operated by dual brake levers and a foot pedal. I admit I'm not the biggest fan of an enclosed wet brake and generally prefer disc brakes at all four corners like you'd find on the Grizzly or Outlander. That said, this type of brake is highly durable and low maintenance, which some riders might appreciate. You adjust the brake lever pressure by these two dials. Stopping power is effective and in my opinion works better than the wet brake setup found on competitive brands. Ergos in the saddle are immediately comfortable. This seat is soft and supportive with the correct foam density. Handlebar height is perfect for me and includes a 35-watt headlight pod for steerable illumination to complement the 35-watt headlights. The LED display is easy to read and provides essential info like speed, trip meter, and vehicle diagnostics. The shift lever at my left, featuring high, low, neutral, and reverse, is easy to reach and operate, and the two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive dip lock switch at my right thumb is intuitive and easy to use when engaged, providing additional traction in slippery conditions. Knuckle guards not only offer some hand protection from brush and debris, they also add to this unit's visual appeal. Meanwhile, the large footwells and raised foot pegs offer great grip and plenty of space for your boots. The KQ styling in this gorgeous cast carbon paint is probably the coolest look in the entire line and exactly what I'd order if I was getting this machine. Plus, unlike the Kodiak and Grizzly, the 750 and the 500 are the exact same size and dimensions, with the only difference between them being their engine displacement. The XPZ also features steel tube cargo racks in a durable wrinkle paint finish, topped with removable high-impact plastic covers. Out back, you'll find a hitch receiver offering a towing capacity of 1,322 pounds, which is more than enough for hauling a small trailer, camping gear, or firewood. There's also some screw-tight storage on the front fender here, That's big enough to store your hat, wallet, or smaller items. And out back, there are 2 larger trunk compartments for water bottles or larger items. All of these are rubber sealed and fairly watertight. This unit's equipped with some aftermarket accessories like a rear bumper, this front brush guard and auxiliary light, and an aftermarket worn winch, which is probably the first item I'd pick up for my own ATV. It should be noted that while no KingQuad models come with a winch pre-installed from the factory, they are pre-wired for a winch and feature standard mounting plates to make installation easy. The 2025 Suzuki King Quad 500 XPZ is a solid mid-bore ATV offering for Canadians seeking reliability and capability without breaking the bank. It delivers proven capability and ride quality and is well suited for everything from light utility work to full days on the trail. When the vision board says big bore, but your bank account suggests otherwise, the 2025 Suzuki King Quad 500 XPZ is a dependable mid-sized offering that's worth a serious look.
Subscribe and comment below for real interaction with the Dirt Trax crew.